Croeso I bedwerydd sesiwn Tyfu Ffydd, Dod â Gobaith a Dangos Cariad. Heddiw, da ni'n mynd I edrych ar gariad a'r gallu I drawsffurfio.
Welcome to the fourth session of Grow Faith, Bring Hope and Demonstrate Love. Today we're going to look at love and the power to transform. Here's Bishop Gregory to begin the session.
The great letter that Paul wrote is the letter to the Romans. It's the first of Paul's letters that we find in the New Testament. It's the longest one, and it's the one in which he tries to set out the gospel as he understands it in preparation for his forthcoming mission trip to Rome and the culmination of his life. Towards the end of the letter to the Romans, he writes about the qualities that should dominate Christian life. And he writes this in chapter 12. Let love be genuine, loathe evil, and hold fast to what is good. Let the love of the Christian community show itself in mutual affection, and esteem others more highly than yourself. With unflagging zeal, aglow with the Spirit, serve the Lord. Let hope keep you joyful, in trouble stand firm, persist in prayer, and contribute to the needs of all God's people. Practice hospitality. Let love be genuine. If people were asked to sum up the Christian gospel in 3 words, they might just simply choose God is love. But when Christians speak about love, we're not actually talking about the affections of the heart. We're not actually talking about the gooey feeling of feeling attracted to or good about other people who we meet. For the Christian, love is an act of the will. We choose to put ourselves at the service of others. We choose to affirm others and see it as our job to build them up, to help make them complete. Herein is love, wrote St. John, not that we loved God, but that he loved us. And Jesus said, as the Father has loved you, so you should love one another. So love is something that has to be passed on. Love is, by its very nature, relational. It's not something you can keep to yourself. And as the Christian community, we're called to live that out. We're called to transform the world by the way in which we love people, by being ready to serve them, to encourage them, to say, I care about every one of you and am willing to put myself out for you. Love is the real test of how true our faith is.
Fel mae llawer ohonyn ni'n gwybod, mae cariad yn gallu edrych yn wahanol mewn wahanol lefydd.
As many of us know, love comes in different shapes and sizes. Let's listen to some examples from St Mary's Church in Tywyn.
I love God more than anything. My family, the church. I love doing God's work, animals and the sea.
I think this is a very hard concept because I think love is one of these very overused words, because we'll say we love a cup of tea, we'd love a cold beer on a hot summer's day, when we confuse with want, and other times we confuse love with need.
Love means to me is being around my close family and my friends that I trust, and I get love a lot from coming to church, especially since losing my dad in 2018 and my granddad. Coming to church helped me through my darkest times, and I felt love through the members of this church. And they just helped us, gave us support, and they helped us a lot with when we all needed it.
Love to me would be being there for someone in their darkest hour. Anyone can be there in the good times, but when it comes to the bad times, you soon see that not everyone is really there for you, whether that be in your own family or the local community. Everyone needs someone.
I think it's easy to know when you've lost love, because you can sense the emptiness and the pain. My mother lived to a very old age, and it wasn't I stopped loving her, but I actually wanted her to have the release. My father didn't. My father died relatively young by today's standards at 69. And yes, I think what I felt afterwards, I'd realised how much had loved him.
A lot of health problems myself, and sometimes it can be difficult, and people don't always accept you for who you are. And you definitely need other people's love around you and guidance.
If we are not shown love and feel love, we will look for other responses out of people. The child that is not loved will be naughty just so it gets some kind of attention, because the one thing as humans we can't handle is zero. We can't stand being ignored.
Love is important because everyone needs it. They need to feel like someone has your back even if you don't have your own back. If I'm feeling down, I feel like God's there to help me bring back up, and when I walk through the church gates, and I feel like God's love's there as I walk in.
I think it's the small things we do, virtually spontaneous, which is when we genuinely show love for someone. It's even when you're in a hurry and you see someone walking down the road, but you actually decide that you will stop because you know that person lives on their own, lack of contact or whatever, and you actually stop to ask them how they are and listen to the reply. And that is when you're genuinely showing it, when there's no plan to it, no organisation to it, no forethought. It's a genuine gesture at that moment in time.
Just a general help and things when people help you in the community, and if they see you struggling at the road and things like that. It's simple things like helping you get across the road, that's showing someone's love, or being there for talk when there's no one else there for you, when you're feeling down and things.
I think there are times when you feel contentment, and possibly it's only after that moment that you realise that the reason you felt that content was because you were experiencing God's love. We talk about unconditional love. I don't think as humans we can truly comprehend that. The nearest thing we see with unconditional love, or unconditional something, is where someone who will give up their home, their family and their friends is actually the drug addict for their next fix, which isn't love. That's the desire for gratification. I am more than happy to receive God's love, but in an extent I feel it's easier to take it as a matter of faith than trying to analyse it. There's bits of me that feels it would be easier to work out the Holy Trinity than it is to actually fully comprehend God's unconditional love for us.
Felly mae cariad yn air da ni'n defnyddio'n aml, ond dydy syniad cariad ddim yn hawdd i'w ddiffinio nag i'w esbonio. Felly beth amdanoch chi? Chi'n meddwl bod cariad yn bwysig? Be ydych chi'n caru yn enwedig?
It's a word that we use a lot, but the concept of love is not always easy to define or explain. What about you? Do you think love's important? What do you particularly love? Let's spend some time reflecting on those questions.
Da ni am glywed eto gyn Jessica, Emily a Michael yn Hywyn rwan wrth iddyn nhw esbonio rhai o'r ffyrdd maen nhw a'i eglwys nhw yn trio dangos cariad.
We're going to hear again from Jessica, Emily and Michael in Tywyn now, as they explain some of the ways in which they and their church tries to demonstrate love.
It's when you stop and ask someone when they're leaving church, who you know that is going home on their own. How are they? What sort of week have they had? Have they heard from their grandchildren? That is when we demonstrate love. Not doing the things that to some extent we do by following a script.
I try to be there for others as much as God is for me. God has shown his love and helped us and my family in so many ways. And I just want to pass that love on to everyone, because everyone know and see God through the work I do and the person I am.
Can you give me an example of how God has shown his love to you or your family?
Through the hands of doctors and things. There's not only me and my family, they've got medical problems. A few of my sisters have got different medical problems. Being there when times have been tough, whether it be emotionally, financially, God always provides and helps us through. Even the darkest of days, he's always been there.
Like anyone else, I've had some very troubled times in my life, if you like. I don't think I appreciated at the time the love that I experienced. But looking back retrospectively, I'd never have got through it if it hadn't been for the love of friends and family.
Just giving the support and being there, talking, spending 5 minutes, 2 minutes out of your day to speak with everyone who attends the church, or even a simple hello can help someone who are suffering and no one knows. And people who are caring and who aren't afraid to practice God's word, who are welcoming to new people when they're turning up. I try and help the church with getting more congregations, so I tend to invite my friends a lot. Because my friends who have spoken to me previously and they want to come but they're scared of being bullied in schools, with me experiencing that, I just bring them to show them it's not nothing to be afraid of, and just to help people in the church when they need it.
Being there for the people in the community, not just those that are coming into church, but those outside that need us as well. I think above anything with the love is the hygiene hampers. That a lot of people have needed them during COVID especially, but all the time. People tend to get quite emotional, especially if it's a person themselves that's going to pick up. A lot of the time they go through different groups and get passed on that way, so you don't necessarily see the actual person that gets them, but when you do meet the people that do get them, they do tend to get quite emotional that, one, they're being gifted that, because although to most it's just simple things, to some people it's everything. Just having a bar of soap and a toothbrush can mean so much to someone that's got nothing.
You can show love for someone just being patient with them. Even when you know that other person isn't acting 100% rationally and getting upset about things that don't really want getting upset. The fact that when someone complains about something that doesn't warrant the level of anger they're showing over it, and the fact that you will sit there and listen as if it was important, even though you know it's not important, then that is demonstrating love.
That's what God asked us to do, wasn't it? You know, I mean, be there for others and care for others. It's showing, one, that we're human, that we are open and welcome to other people, like other people coming in and things, and just showing God's love and passing God's love around the communities. You have to be out there as much as you want them being here for them to see that.
Jessica yn agoffi ni'n fanna bod rhaid I ni ddangos cariad tu allan ein eglwysi yn ogystal â tu fewn.
A reminder at the end there from Jessica that we have to demonstrate love outside our churches as well as inside. Well, it's over to you now to discuss love. Here are some questions to help your conversations.
Gobeithio bod chi wedi mwynhau'r sesiwn hon, lle dyn ni wedi meddwl am gariad a'r gallu I drawsffurfio.
We do hope that you've enjoyed this session, in which we've considered love and the power to transform. The reality is that love, or the lack of love, has shaped all of our lives. And today I hope you've recognised how important that love is to everyone in your church, your community, and the wider world.
Cariad ydy'r glud sy'n yn dal ni at ein gilydd. Y peth sydd yn tynnu pobl at y ffydd ac yn dod yn nhw at yr eglwys, a'r grym sydd yn gyrru ni I newid y byd.
Love is meant to be the glue that holds us together, the magnet that draws people to faith and brings them to your church, and the force that drives us to change the world. This is something we will return to in our final session, when we bring together all of the themes of the course and consider choice and the creation of new possibilities. But for now, we will close our penultimate session with prayer.